Coming to paperback and e-readers, the steam Season of the Witch Girl. The aspiring angel takes on a wicked teenage witch in this action-packed all-new Esteem series adventure. Pre-order your copy of Esteem Season of the Witch Girl at Amazon.com and other online booksellers. I was reading an article a couple of weeks ago where a Google executive stated that a 60-hour work week was the sweet spot for getting work done effectively. And as I read that article as a business owner, it made me shake my head because it's clear that this individual has no real balance as related to their perception of reality or any sort of perception of balance as related to their lives. Now, when it comes down to a work week, I would have to agree with Henry Ford, who stated that a 40-hour work week was the best thing for people because a 40-hour work week basically gave people some balance as related to their work life and gave them balance so that they could go out here and understand, yes, you have a job, but you have other responsibilities in your life. And since you have other responsibilities in your life, you need to focus on those just as much as you do your job. Now, we only have about 24 hours in a day in 7 days of the week, and I don't think that it's really healthy for anyone to be working 60 hours a week. No, anyone who thinks that you have to work 60 to 80 hours a week, as I see it, is someone who basically is Arkham certified. And sadly, when it comes down to America's workforce, we've had a lot of Arkham certified types going out here trying to make their insane and maniacal work hours into reality for everyone. Now, when it comes down to these people possibly, again, either are nerds who basically have no connection to real people and real life, or they are people looking to run away from a problem. Usually people who want to work all these extra hours really don't have any sort of life outside of the job, and because they don't have any connection to life outside of the job, they basically wind up on this maniacal approach to work and believe they have to work all these extra hours. Now, in the case of many of these tech nerds really don't have any connection to people, and they so focus on what the things that they want to do. They so focus on the things that they want to do as related to whatever they want to accomplish that they cannot see anything related to people, and that's why they would want to sit there in that office for over 60 hours. They want to sit there in that office for 60 hours because they have this just obsession with whatever they want to accomplish, and because they have this obsession with what they want to accomplish, they basically just wind up missing out on the abundant life that Christ wants to give us. Now, Christ wants to give us an abundant life, and he wants us to have that abundant life, but sadly, many people miss out on that abundant life because they don't want to follow God's standard as related to work. Now, the Most High God made a standard for work, and again, this is why he gave us the whole thing of sun up to sun down, and also gave us a day to rest because he understood man needs some time to be able to rest himself. He needs time to be able to get rest during the day. At night, that's the time when a man is supposed to, or a woman is supposed to rest. And a man is supposed to have a day of rest, because if the Most High God can take time to go out here and rest and create both day and night so that there can be periods of rest, then we as human beings need to be able to go out here and rest and have time for ourselves. That's what was established by God for us. Unfortunately, what happened is we got a whole group of males who don't know how to be good stewards of God, and don't know how to be good stewards to, again, look out for those who do labor for them. No, these individuals, because they are basically so obsessed with doing what they want to accomplish, they basically, again, don't want to take that time to rest. And because they don't want to take that time to rest, This is why they're basically running like maniacs, trying to do a lot in a little bit of time, and again, stretching out their workdays, to insane levels, stretching out their workday to an insane level, that basically what it does to a average human being is start to lead to that person having issues with themselves, because that person is overworked. And that's why America is basically losing as related to productivity, because we overwork people. We overwork people because we basically want to go out here and get these incredible results. However, as someone who has owned a business, I can tell you that it is not about how long you work. No, you're going to get whatever results that God wants you to have. Now, you can impede those results by overworking yourself, because like God has stated, again, in the Word of God, again, it's not about how much you toil, it's all about whether God has favor. That's what many of these executives and other types don't understand. They don't understand that when it comes to work, it's not about how long you work. No, it's about whatever God wants to, again, give an increase to. So you can go out here and work 60, 70 hours and still wind up with nothing. This is something that I learned from personal experience. You can go out here and work lots of hours on something, like I've done with many books, and sometimes you don't get any productivity, because sometimes you wind up stuck with writer's block, like I have with certain stories where I got stuck for a while, because you're trying to do too much and your brain needs that time to process. That's what a lot of these executives don't understand at Google. Again, sometimes your human brain needs a minute. It needs a minute to rest. It needs a minute to cool down. And you trying to continue pushing your brain, what you're doing is basically putting yourself on a road to burning yourself out. And if you put yourself on a road to burning yourself out, what you're going to wind up with are mental health issues. You're going to wind up with mental health issues because you're driving yourself too hard. And sometimes you just can't drive yourself but so hard, because things are going to come in God's time. That's what many of the nerds don't understand. Many of the nerds are so caught up in what they want, they can't see how they are becoming their own worst enemy. They're becoming their own worst enemy because, again, working 60 hours is something that is not productive for the human body or the human mind, because if you're working 60 hours, you're basically working 12 hours a day, 5 days a week. That's just too much time. Again, you need that 8 hours because it's balanced as related to things. Again, 8 hours of rest, 8 hours at the job, and then 8 hours basically doing things as related to your average everyday life. That basically, again, gives you time for yourself, and every human being needs time for themselves to see and measure what they're doing, and also go out here and understand what they're working for. That's what's happening as related to things in this country. People don't even understand what they're working for. And even worse, many of our families have no understanding of what they're working for. And that's really what's leading to a lot of our children growing up without any connection to their parents, or being taught anything about life from their parents. As they're not being taught anything by their parents, they're growing up to become children of the corn. Children of the corn, because, again, nobody is having that life balance to give them time to sit down and do things like read their little kids a story, or sit down and teach their teenage sons about dating or relationships, or teach their sons how to drive, or just having those everyday family moments. Nobody's really having that time, because we're going to work at these companies where nothing really is getting done, because, again, it's not about how long you stay on the job. A person could stay on a job from 8 o'clock to about 10 o'clock and still get nothing done. Or a person can go out here and work a 9 to 5 and basically get what they need done by about maybe 2, 3 o'clock. And basically you could get your results. Again, results are not something that you can go out here and sit and monitor and watch. Again, this is a sign that a person is extremely insecure. It's a sign that somebody is extremely insecure and doesn't trust the people they have working for them or trust the processes to get work done. And that basically shows how that person has a complete lack of faith in God as related to his standards for work, a complete lack of faith as related to trusting their employees and giving them the space to do what they need to do. Because you don't really need to be out here watching people like a hawk or having AI monitor people. No, as related to working 12 to 60 hours, 12 hours a day and 60 hours a week. No, you don't need to push people that hard. No, you really just need to go out here and again, give people the time and again, trust them to do their work. Yes, there are going to be slow periods at these jobs. Yes, there's going to be periods where things are not really moving as fast as some people want them to. But the whole thing is that downtime is a part of life. It's a part of any business. And again, you can't drive people but so hard, because what you're going to do is burn those people out. You're going to burn those people out and again, make it where those people no longer are productive. No, they're going to become extremely frustrated. They're going to become extremely miserable. And that's going to further hamper your productivity. Because instead of people going out here and being as productive, they're turning over the job. And if they turn over the job, this is where your business starts to lose momentum, because you have to slow down your business. And in order to, again, start to look for the next talent that you're going to hire, you're going to have to go out here and basically lose money because you lost money on that person that basically left the job. And you're going to have to risk 90 to 180 days if you hire a new person. This is what happens when you, again, overwork people. And the problem with American workplaces is that we've overworked people because companies basically are run by nerds who, again, are disconnected from people, don't understand the human process of work established by God, don't understand how the world of work works with people and how you have to work with your people. You have to work with your people and, again, give them some time. Give them some time, because like a boyfriend who, again, wants to over control everything, because a lot of guys, what they do is they crowd the woman that they're with, or the woman crowds them. They basically, again, feel overwhelmed and stifled by this person constantly being in their face. And people need breaks from the job, just like they need breaks from their girlfriend. Again, people need balance in their lives. Now, the guy working 60 hours a week, I would say, has, again, serious issues, because what I find with guys who basically throw themselves into work like this, like these nerds do, is because they have issues in their lives. And since they have issues in their personal life, they're looking to run away from these things. Like, I think in a lot of the case of these nerds, they're socially awkward and they don't want to go out here and improve their social skills. So they throw themselves into their work hoping to accomplish something, because they don't want to, again, do that work on themselves. So they go and come to this job looking to work all these long hours. And again, they go to this work, again, to avoid dealing with things in their lives. Same thing with a lot of married guys. They basically throw themselves into their work as a coping mechanism. They throw themselves into their work as a coping mechanism in order to be able to escape their problems. They throw themselves into the job hoping to avoid dealing with a wife who is basically giving them a hard time. They throw themselves into their work to avoid dealing with children that they don't know how to relate to. They throw themselves into work because they want to escape their problems in life as related to everyday life. And this is not anything that's healthy for a man or a woman to do, to be sitting at this job all day. I know when I used to work at companies like Strive and AmeriCorps Vista, I couldn't wait for the time to end, because there were other things that I wanted to do, like go out here and work on my writing. Or even when I'm working on my writing, sometimes I was glad to have the job to be able to have some time to breathe. Again, you have to have balance in your life. And when it comes down to Americans, we have lost that ability to have balance as related to our lives, because many of these overly type A ambitious individuals they basically don't see how dysfunctional they are. They don't see how dysfunctional they are as related to their approach to doing work. They don't see how their approach to work is basically turning into them becoming obsessed, and that obsession making them into maniacs. Maniacs who basically drive their coworkers and their subordinates so hard that people basically lose their love for whatever they were passionate about. They lose their love and passion for the things that they love to do. And as they lose their love and passion for what they do, again, this makes it where the person becomes apathetic, just looking for a paycheck and not really caring about their work. And this is where your standards start to slip. Your standards start to slip because people don't have that time to breathe. They don't have that time to relax. They don't have that time to just go out here and just, again, enjoy this thing we call life. No, everything is about work. And again, it can't be about work. This is something I learned many years ago working for myself on this SJS Direct imprint. What I learned working on this SJS Direct imprint is that every day just can't be about me having my fingers to the keyboard or sitting in front of this camera making videos. No, I need some balance to my life. I need time to go out here and do other things. I need time to go out here and, again, be able to enjoy other things as related to my hobbies and interests like action figures or doing things like going out here and cooking. You need some time to go out here and have time for yourself. And people, sadly, are not getting that time for themselves anymore. That's why people today are so tense. That's why people are so anxious, because many of these people who, again, run these companies don't know anything about people. Many of these nerds don't understand people. Many of these people who have been in the workforce for a long time, they have lost their connection to people. And as they've lost their connection to people, the thing that drives them is the job. But the job can't be everything to your life. No, I would say Henry Ford, even though he was a racist and, again, a white supremacist, was on point about one thing: that 8-hour work week, 8-hour day with a break in between for lunch basically was one of the best things to do, because you give people time to breathe. You give people time to clear their head. People need that time. Again, people need time to be able to process what they're doing. This is something that I learned a long time ago, and I still apply today. Sometimes I have issues with it sometimes, but sometimes you just need, again, a day to just breathe. And again, when you let your brain rest, you can start, again, being able to process once more. You can be able to process once more because you're not pushing yourself so hard. You can be able to take that minute, get that moment of clarity, and then be able to approach something, again, from a fresh perspective. And you can't do that in a 60-hour work week. No, you need to, again, have that clarity in 40 hours. Now, some of these employers think, oh, if I keep my people driven like this, it'll be good. No, it won't be good for you, because, again, when your employees are burning out, they're not going to be able to produce the best quality. And again, you being over them, basically, this is going to mess with your head and overwhelm you. And again, you need to have these breaks. Again, 60-hour work week is not something that's healthy. No, it's something that comes from a person who is Arkham certified and misses something from their lives, that they desperately need, and that is balance. Everybody, again, needs balance as related to these jobs. Again, a job should not be your life, because what happens when you lose that job? Critical question I got to ask that Google executive. What happens when you lose that job? What happens to your life? Again, everything you invested into this company basically is gone at this point. And this is what leads to people becoming so mentally twisted that they go out here and, again, look to, again, participate in crimes like mass shooting, because they invest so much into these companies, invest so much of their emotions into this job. They invest so much, and then they see everything lost. They feel like they have nothing to lose. And again, this is why you want people to have balance. Now, some of these companies, you got executives who sit there and say, oh, I don't want that person to go start a business and be competition. I don't want them to be focused on improving themselves. No, you want people to go out here and do this because this keeps you sharp, this keeps you focused, and keeps you from being complacent. Because when you have people working too hard, what happens is you lose your focus, you lose your ability to see things fresh, and again, you get a bad case of tunnel vision. And as you get that bad case of tunnel vision, what happens to you is that you don't really have that clarity to be able to compete in the workforce. And again, you're not going to get work done effectively. You're going to get work done in a sloppy manner because you're overworking yourself, your body. Again, God created it to rest. He gave you the night to rest. For most people who can't work days, most of the nights are made for people who can go out here and rest. And everybody needs that balance, again, to get that 8 hours of sleep, get that 8 hours of their own personal time, and get time for themselves as related to things. You need that balance. And again, that's what's messed up America, is we have no balance. And because we have no balance, this is why so many men and women are in crisis. They're in crisis because they are working this dysfunctional life schedule, that makes it where we're creating, again, adults who cannot function, children who cannot function, and a nation that basically is on the brink of collapse. Again, you need balance as related to things because, again, 60 hours doesn't really get you productivity. I know this for a fact because I remember writing a story in a week, like a John Haynes, A Conversation with Death, and again, just wrote it off the fly, off the top of my head. Turned out to be one of the biggest hits of the SJS Direct imprint. Same thing with Esteem, No Good Deed. Again, those stories did better than stories I put my all into, like Isis Wrath of the Cyber Goddess. I would put in hours on that type of story and it wouldn't really go anywhere. But then I've had stories like A Conversation with Death and No Good Deed, which did very well, again, as related to things. And again, it's not about how many hours you put in. It really is about what God decides to make prosper. So yes, you can put your best into things, but you have to, again, set boundaries for yourself. I would do that for myself sometimes. I'd be in front of the keyboard and I'd say, look, okay, it's time to go to bed. It's time to, again, go get some rest. I'll come back at this. I might have had the idea for something, but I'll say, okay, I have to stop because I need to take care of myself. And people need time to take care of themselves. Everything can't be about work. No, we need some people to understand that, again, things will get done and they'll get done in time. And it's not about what you're doing, it's about how you're doing it, because you might be able to do something, again, in 60 hours, but it may not be quality. But I could do something in 16 or 40 hours and it'd be top quality. I would rather do something in 40 hours and have it be top quality than have it be done in a 60-hour week and it just be complete garbage. I would rather just go out here and take the breaks and relax and eventually get something done, and it be top quality. That's what I would like to do. To me, I would rather just give people the time to, again, be able to do what they can. That's why sometimes when I go to comic artists, I'll say, I'll talk to them in an email maybe 6-7 months before the project is supposed to launch and give them that time so that they can, again, I know they've got other projects, and sometimes I just know, hey, you just need to go out and go have a burger someplace or go hang out someplace, go be with your people. That's what allows you to stay fresh and be inspired. I like to give people space, and that's what I would do if I was a manager or editor-in-chief at a company. I would be giving people space to, again, do what they need to do. Again, we can get this out on time. We're still going to meet the deadlines. Again, I still meet deadlines here at SJS Direct. I don't rush stuff out. I understand because I made those mistakes back in about 2012 with a book called Isis, My Sister, My Frenemy, one of my ISIS series stories that I thought was a really good story, but because I was rushing and working crazy hours, that book was filled with typos and the quality wasn't good. But I came back at it and said, I need to change my process. I can't go out here and make 4 ISIS books a year. So what I'm going to do is make 1 ISIS book a year, and I'm going to make it the best it can be. I'm going to make the book the best it can be. I'm going to work and, again, take my time because, again, nothing is not going to increase unless God allows it. You can work hours, again, all your days. And if God doesn't want it to increase, that 60-hour work week is not going to be productive at all, because while, like I said in the Bible, Paul planted, Apollos watered, but it was God who gave the increase, and it's God who gives you the increase, so you don't need to really go out here and work hard. No, work to the standards of God. Work to the standards of God because He gave you time to rest, and again, He wants you to rest, and He wants you to have that time. He wants you to be able to relax, and again, this is what we need to understand. In our tech age, again, these tech nerds really don't understand that people need time. We need time to, again, for ourselves. Again, everything might be for you with this tech that you think it has to come out quick. No, it don't have to come out quick. This is what I've learned, again, publishing digital books. It don't have to come out quick. It comes out whenever you need it to come out. No, it comes out when it's ready, and when it's ready, that's when the customers will appreciate it if it's of quality. If you produce something of quality and give people time to produce something of quality, you'll produce something that customers will love and appreciate and really enjoy. And all you need to do is take your time and trust God as related to doing your work. Now, if you want to learn how to identify toxic workplace predators and how to be able to move your career forward, you can pick up my book, Stop Simping in Cyberspace and Stop Simping in the Workplace on Amazon.com in paperback and Kindle format. You can also find both of these books at other online booksellers like Draft to Digital, Google Play, Barnes & Noble, and big box retailers like Walmart and Target. And if you want to check out many of the fiction books I've worked on, such as those in the ISIS series, those in the Steam series, those in the John Haynes series, those in the Spinsterella trilogy, you can find all of those books in paperback and Kindle format at Amazon.com. You can also find them at other online booksellers like Draft to Digital, Google Play, Barnes & Noble, and big box retailers like Walmart and Target. And if you want to see me be able to make videos about a workplace, you can drop a donation to the Patreon, the PayPal, or the Cash App by clicking the links in the description box. That's all I have to say for this video. You can comment, rate, and subscribe. Now available in paperback and e-readers, John Haynes, A Thorn in My Side. The man who rules the world takes on an agent from the CIA, from the Black Boule, in this all-new John Haynes series adventure. Get your copy of John Haynes' A Thorn in My Side in paperback and e-readers at online booksellers everywhere. Support Black-owned and Black-operated digital broadcast media. www.niceradionetwork.com. Nice Radio Network, broadcasting 24 hours a day, 7 days a week.